It's a brand new day, let's teach your way. It's time for Musicplay.
Welcome back to the Musicplay Minutes podcast. This episode is also available as a webinar with a handout and a PD certificate. All extra resources, including visual examples mentioned in this episode, can be found at workshops.musicplay.ca. Starting the year with clear outcomes in mind makes it much easier to complete assessments come grading time. Join Denise as she shows you where to find different rubrics, tracking charts, musical examples, and assessment ideas for each grade.
So, welcome everybody. I'm Denise Gagne, and I'm here to share some easy lesson planning ideas for your pre-K to grade 6. And I am going to share the screen this time and go to my PDF document. That is this beautiful lesson planning document. So, easy lesson planning for pre-K to grade 6 music teachers. Start with the end in mind. Figure out what you want your kids to be able to do by the end of the year, and then start working on those skills from day one. And keep in mind that pre-K, K1, these concepts, loud, quiet, fast, slow, high, low, smooth, separated, you're going to do over and over and over and over again. I find with my littles, loud, quiet, they get really quickly. Fast, slow, they get really quickly. High and low takes forever. And some of them never get it. Steady beat, we think they've got it, and then we have them do a folk dance when they're in 3rd grade, and they can't keep a beat when they're folk dancing. So these basic concepts are ones that we have to work on over and over and over again. I started making a realistic concept list, and I did it for grade 2 for one of our Artie and Denise workshops, and I will do it for all the grade levels, because if you can see a real quick list, that really helps. Another quick list that we have is these What We Learn posters. And they are beautiful, and they do give you a quick list. But even here, there's perhaps more than you want to see in one page. Let's just make it a realistic concept list and narrow it down so that you can realistically get through that in a year. Find out what your report card looks like. If you have to do 1, 2, 3s or 1, 2, 3, 4s or beginning, develop, proficient, that's going to look different than if you don't have to do marks at all. So find out how many concepts you can report on. If you can only report on 3 concepts, narrow down the 3 concepts you're going to report on in each term. And it's easy to find songs that will teach those concepts or focus on those concepts. Here's the scope and sequence for Musicplay. This works really well within pretty well any state or provincial curriculum. I have seen slight differences. For example, I've seen 16th notes introduced in 2nd grade. I've had classes that couldn't do 16th notes successfully until 4th grade. So wherever your kids are at, take them and expand on it. Same with expressive elements. Fast and slow, I introduce and actually label in kindergarten. That's when they get. But other concepts, obviously not until much later. And here's the form, texture, and harmony. I love the What We Learn posters, What We Learn in grade 2. These are very visual. They make actually really nice bulletin board of everything that you're going to teach in grade 2. And this is a pretty realistic concept list right here. And at the bottom is the national standards. And the national standards are more about process, how we teach. The concepts and the skills are what we teach. So they're kind of 2 different things, connected, but really you need to think about them as being connected, but not identical. So we have a year plan for every grade level in Musicplay. And how many minutes are you going to teach per week? I would be really interested to see in the chat, maybe Danae or Spencer could create a poll and find out who sees their kids 30 minutes per week, who sees their kids 40 minutes per week, who sees their kids 60 or 90 minutes per week. Everybody has different time schedules. There's no possible way I can script a lesson that's going to meet the needs of every teacher in North America and Australia or South Africa or wherever you're joining us from. The lesson modules are created for between 40 and 60 minutes. If you have less time than that, you're going to have to leave something out. If you have more time, go to the little arrow in the song list and one of the songs, and you'll find tons of extensions, pretty well for every song in the program. August I'm glad August is done because I want to redo it again next year. I wasn't happy with how I did my August lessons this year. So next year, August will be different and more rational. And I will do what I said I would do here, where if you start in August, start with August week 1, whether you start in week 1, 2, 3, 4, and this year there was 5 weeks in August. There was some overlap between grade levels in August, and that's okay because that gives you a little bit less that you have to learn and teach. Not all schools start in August. So if I wrote only 36 lessons and you started in the first week of August, Halloween would happen in the middle of September. So I don't start the official song sequence until after Labor Day when I know that every school is in session. And once Labor Day comes in North America, pretty well everybody goes back to school that Tuesday after Labor Day. So month outlines are quite useful. September month outlines are going to be updated at the end of September, but it's pretty close. What's in the learning modules is pretty close to what is in the current learning modules. I've updated a few things. We've got nicer solfa videos, so I'm putting those nicer solfa videos in. In here it says play homemade instruments. That was for when kids were home with COVID on lockdowns. Now we're playing classroom instruments. So there will be small changes, nothing too major. If we have some new John Jacobson songs, especially for upper elementary, I'm adding them in. So ways or reasons to use Musicplay Online in your lesson planning. The number one way you can use it is to use the lessons that are in the learning modules. They're already built and you can customize them. And it's no different than taking the old Silver Burdette books, opening it up and looking at the lesson plan in it. You're still using a lesson plan that somebody else has created. But what this is a very visual lesson plan. And I still feel you should customize. If you have lots of abilities, play to your strengths. If you're level 3 ORF and you have a room full of ORF instruments, focus more on the songs with ORF arrangements. If you have all your Kodai levels and you're really a well-trained Kodai teacher, then by all means follow the solfa sequence. You can use this as a supplement. You can use this as your main curriculum. There is everything in here that you need, and really the choice is yours, how to use it. So the lesson modules provide a framework. You can add to it or substitute freely. They're customizable. You can copy and edit them. They make really good subplans, and they are awesome for new teachers and awesome for teachers new to Musicplay because I use a lot of areas of the website in them. I'll use the composing tools I did in grades 4 and 5 for making rhythm compositions. You might not find those on your own, but you'll find them if you use the learning modules. And I know that almost everybody out there at some point in their career goes on to TPT and buys something on TPT. You download it and then you go, okay, I'm going to change this and this and this and this. You make it your own. And that's how you should use Musicplay Online. It's a tool. We don't expect it to replace a teacher. We don't want it to replace an experienced teacher. We want you to customize it, make it work for you. So this is what the learning modules look like. I've actually changed them a wee bit, and I'm going to try and keep up with this in that I've numbered them so that they match the activities. So number 1 on this would be number 1, Sing the Echoes and Welcome to Music. So that's one change that we're making. And then we go through an entire lesson with you. And this has changed a wee bit since last year, but not significantly. You can copy it, and then you can start moving things around, trashing things, add things of your own to it. So it is easy lesson planning when you use the lessons in the learning modules, and you can play to your strengths. If you're a really good movement specialist, then you're going to do more things with movement. In my granddaughter's music class last year, I just love their music teacher and the way she was able to choreograph current songs for the kids. They loved her. She loved them. She was they were in a Catholic school, and she found all these praise and worship songs that the kids really bought into. And that's going to have meaning for those kids forever. So Natalie, you did an amazing job. A shout out to you for what you did. So this is the handout, and I'm going to add in here some ideas for upper elementary because the Musicplay learning modules are very much a song-based sequence. So in the learning module, I'm going to go to pick a grade level. I'll pick grade 2. I like grade 2. So I'm going to go to lesson 1. This is what I would be teaching this week if I walked into your classroom. And as you can see, I numbered the activities now so that it matches. And 6, 7, 8, 9 are all to do with engine number 9. Number 10 is Canada, oh Canada. Number 11, My Country 'Tis of Thee. So they match the activity numbers. Supporting resources, we are going through and trying to get the lesson guides updated. We're going to be a little bit behind for a while, but these won't be very, very far off what there is now that we're in September. I messed up August really badly, and I apologize for that. September is better. So in grade 2, this week, if I came in, I'd start with, Welcome to Music. Now, I might just sing it and not use the video. This video is here to jog my memory that that's what it is. If I had a written plan in hand, it would say, welcome the children to your class with Welcome to Music, and it might have the notation. If I don't need the audio, I'm not going to use the audio. Circle name game. I've played this 100 times now, and I've played it with everybody from my 3-year-olds up to 6th graders. I really like it. This would, again, jog my memory, but I would be practicing the names, especially if this was my first week of school. The how-tos and what-ifs, if you've been with me through August, you've already done this, but if you're brand new to, if you're just starting the school year this week, the how-tos and what-ifs are discussing procedures. I didn't have these in last year. I think this is a valuable addition because it's really important for kids to know what happens if there's a fire drill. There is nothing worse than having a fire drill before you've gone through this with your kids. They're so much better prepared for it if you've gone over what the music room procedure is for a fire drill or a lockdown. And don't do you need to use the restroom until the very end of class, because if you do, every kid in your class is going to put their hand up and need to go pee. It's a given. This rhythm practice, echo rhythm, again, I probably wouldn't use the video. I'd probably just give them a rhythm pattern and they'd clap it back to me. And I'd do it different ways. And I'd mix it up so that I'm keeping them challenged all the time. I'd do some in 6/8 and ask them to clap that back. Sometimes I ask the kids in the class to create the rhythm pattern and have the kids echo. That's a great way to start them with some little creating activities. I might not do that the first week of school, but if this was my 5th week, then I probably would. Now, I would use this video because Maya is beautiful, she has a gorgeous voice, and this is a really good way to get the kids learning solfege. Solfege is much harder to teach than rhythms. It's easier when you have a really good vocal model. And what I've tried to do is to find, this is a So-Me pattern in the key of C. It matches engine, which uses So-Me in the key of C. So if the kids have done these echoes, there's a better chance that they're going to be able to read the solfege in the song. They probably in 2nd grade could read the rhythms using tas and titis or do's and do days, whatever you use, but the solfege would be something else. Just a note, you can make everything full screen. I'm going to do that. I'm going to hide this so it makes it much bigger. If you have a sub in, your sub would probably use the audio to play this for them. I have kids demos of all the games, and I do put these into the modules quite consistently because it's way easier for the kids to understand how to play the game when they can see a group of children doing it. And this is an interesting group. Calder is now going into his 2nd year of university. So these are older videos, but they still show how to play the games really well. This is a concept slide, and I'm going to go to the song and show you what we did. So that little arrow will take me right to the song. And when I go to the song, I have my audio track, my accompaniment track. I can download it. I have all my videos here. So notation, lyrics, here's the kids' demo. The concept slides used to all be in one slide. And so you couldn't see all the good things that were in there for teaching. I love using the notation slides. That's what I've put into the learning modules. I put the notation slides in because it's big, it's easy to read, it's easy to see, and I would have the kids do that. I would just do that with my voice. I wouldn't do that necessarily with the audio. So that is the notation concept slide, close out here. But here is the beat and rhythm concept slide. So I can use that, and that will be Denise teaching how I would teach beat and rhythm to the kids. Or I could go over here and do the interactive beat and rhythm activities. If I wanted to, I could print out the matching beat and rhythm worksheets. So once you've clicked that little arrow in the song, that little arrow, it takes you to the song, and that's where all your extensions are for any song in the lesson. So if you're lucky enough to have your kids for 90 or even 120 minutes a week, then use those arrows and do extensions with them. So here I've linked you to the beat and rhythm interactive activities, and you're going to start with wherever your kids are at. If you're just teaching them about beat, probably the first two. But if you've already had them reading rhythms, you might go to, is it one sound or two, engine number 9, or you might go to the next one where engine, 2 sounds on a beat, I call it TT. And 1 sound on a beat, I call ta. You might call it do's and duties. We offer the options for Canadian teachers and for American teachers, and I hope we can get some Australian songs in here as well. But if you're Canadian, teach them to sing O Canada. If you're American, teach them My Country 'Tis of Thee. Find instruments in your classroom. This slide last year was using homemade instruments, which was left over from COVID lockdowns. Now we go to the classroom and use the instruments in our classroom. Play along with Riding That New River Train. This is a song that's great to teach by immersion. The kids do something with the song, in this case, play instruments to the beat. Sometimes I have them move to the beat, and then they play it again, and then the music time is over. So that's what my lesson plan looks like for September week 1. If I wanted to go to September week 2, I could go to September week 2. But I'm going to show you how you can copy it and make it your own. So actually, there's 2 ways to do this. One, I can copy it to an existing list. Any of those yellow buttons, anywhere on the site, will add it to a list that I've created. Or I can copy the whole thing and I can edit it. So this little pencil is the editing button, and I'm going to call this grade 2 lesson 1. It might be your lesson 4, and I'm going to call it September week 1. I can add categorizations. So I'm going to put in here that it's grade 2 so that if I have to hunt for it after I've made the next 100 My Lists, it's easier for me to find. I can categorize by theme or by concept. There's a lot of beat activities in this one, so I might categorize by beat. No holidays except for back to school. And curriculum links, I didn't have any big ones in there. So I'm going to now save it. And now I can change as I wish. If I have, for example, a school song that is my introduction song for kids every year, I won't use Welcome to Music. I'm going to dump it in the trash. It's gone. Now we have the circle name game first. I like that. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep the procedures because I haven't gone over them in August, and I want to make sure my kids know what my expectations are. Rhythm practice, I might keep this just to jog my memory. I can add things to this list as well. So if I want to add a procedure, I'm going to go to the end and I'm going to add a procedure. So here I can add a link URL. I'm not 100% certain of this, but I'm pretty sure if you have a Google slide made and you have it in your Google Classroom, you can link to it. I 100% for sure know that if I want to add something from YouTube or DSO Kids or any other website that you use, I can add that very easily. I just copy the URL and I go back to my lesson and I copy it in there. And then I'm going to say it's line rider in the hall. And now it is. So now when I go down to the bottom of my lesson, so here's Line Rider. If I click on the link, it takes me right to YouTube. So if you have a Google Classroom and you have a Google Drive and you put things in your Google Drive that you want to teach your kids, you can add those things to your lesson by using this links. I should stop here and ask, do we have any questions in the chat that I should be answering, Spencer?
There's been one question so far I saw that was asking about people who are not ORF level 3 or Kodai trained.
So most of us are eclectic teachers. I actually have my level 3 in ORF and Kodai, but that requires a really understanding good husband and you being willing to take a lot of weeks out of your summer holiday to do that. It's difficult. So if you're an eclectic, following the lesson modules makes total sense because it's got a little bit of ORF, it's got the solfege reading from the Kodai process. So it has a little bit of everything in there. So the learning modules are really for the generalist music teacher. I'm also going to show you how to create a My List because this is another easy way to create your own lesson plan. So I'm going to add a new list and I'm going to call it Easy Plan September Week 1. And again, I could categorize it, but I'm just going to add it. And now I can start adding things to it. So if I want to rearrange everything that was in that learning module, instead of using the order that it was in, I'm going to go back to grade 2 so we stick with the same one. So if I want the Welcome to Music, I can add it to that list. Easy Plan September Week 1. And it's added. It's just that simple. And if I want to skip this because I've done it, skip this because I've done it, I don't want to do rhythm practice, I want to just do that on my own, I want to add the solfa, I can add it to the lesson. I can go to games, I can go to listening, I can go to instruments, and I can add things there as well. So making your own My Lists is a really good way to do things. So here's my easy plan for September Week 1. I've got Welcome to Music, I've got the solfa, and I'll try and remember and add things as we go. So those are 2 easy ways to plan your lesson. This is by far the easiest way, is just to take the learning modules and go through them on a week-by-week basis. So September to June is where we officially start. I want to talk a little bit about upper elementary because these lessons are very song-based. And if you've got grade 5s that are reluctant to sing, they're not going to be as successful as you will be if you go into units or you go into instruments. So units that work really well with your upper elementary. If you've got ornery 5th grade, go into the listening units and look at the history of jazz. These are complete lessons that go through the whole history of jazz. This is a video that introduces it. This is a listening selection. This is a assessment or / worksheet for the kids. And this is the teacher's guide with all the answers. So it starts roots of jazz, goes through Dixieland, Louis Armstrong, the blues, swing, Duke Ellington, Count Basie. We are planning an update on that on this year, but the essential elements are going to remain the same. I really like these lessons. This is a good set of units for it. Another good set of lessons or materials for your older kids is the Just Sing. This is John Jacobson's materials, and he's got Keep the Beat from Netflix Vivo. So we've got a YouTube video of Keep the Beat. We've got John Jacobson with the full choreography, the teaching choreography. I used these in August lessons, and I hope teachers enjoyed them. Clap Your Hands, I thought was a great song. This is actually a Christmas song. A Million to One is another good song, and we've linked to the official YouTube videos. You have the full audio, which is not downloadable. We can't give you permissions for that. And we can't, in these pop songs, give you permissions either for print, the words. But a Google search will get you the words really quickly and easily. I could just pull up a new window and show Keep the Beat, Netflix Vivo, and lyrics, and I will have it available for my kids to learn. What I was trying to do in the August lessons is where there were bucket drumming, for example. We would introduce the song with bucket drumming, get it in the kids' ears, and then do the choreography. And by the time they'd done that, they probably know the song. My daughter did this one with her choir last year. It was great. So all of these songs, again, are going to have more appeal for upper elementary. The Beethoven Lives Upstairs, Box Fight for Freedom, Bizet's Dream. I taught Bizet's Dream to my 5th graders, and it's got it's actually a really, really well-made video. We've got really good worksheets for this. We've got fact or fiction interactives to help the kids sort out what's real, what's fictional in this video. So the listening units, I think, are well worth spending some time on. Dance and movement units, fun for the kids. And we have dance and movement that's specifically targeting upper elementary kids. I've done, in fact, our kids' demos in here were 6th graders. So Sasha was done by 6th grade, and Tismicha, Chimes of Dunkirk, were done by 6th graders. So these are activities, dances that the kids really do like in upper elementary. Theory unit, we're building this out. We've done some work on it. The staff lesson is quite good. There's some new repeat videos and worksheets. The theory unit is one that I would do with upper elementary, in particular, if you're going to be teaching them some instruments. The instruments in this case is instruments of the orchestra, and we have new videos in here that demo some of the instruments. So the clarinet was there before. This is a link to a really good video by the Calgary Symphony on the woodwinds. And here's the brass family and the Calgary Philharmonic's video on the brass family. This was a young fellow who was applying to get into McGill. So his grade 12 audition, he helped us turn it into a introduction to the euphonium. So that's new. We have some beautiful new violin and fiddle introductions. This is Zoe introducing the violin, and she introduces the viola as well. And then Donna Rodenheiser does the fiddle. And we have a really good double bass. And again, the sensational strings is Calgary Symphony Orchestras. The percussion is not as full yet. This is a demo of Playing Four Corners Instruments version. And then we have all our keyboard instruments. So we have Matthew introducing classical piano on this lovely Steinway. We have Morgan introducing jazz, blues, rock on the piano. We have a harpsichord intro, an organ intro, and an accordion intro. And then Donna and Andy from Nova Scotia have done intro to the spoons on the washboard. So these activities are perhaps more age appropriate for your 4th, 5th middle school kids than doing totally song-based sequences. I think they love singing and they enjoy singing, but I think at this age level, you will likely have more success with either instruments or units. So here's the instruments that I would use with the upper elementary. I would use the Christian basics from number 6 to 12. 1 to 5 are too primary, but 6 to 12 are good. They teach all the patterns that Christian uses. The level 2 is quite challenging. I found it hard. So if I find it hard, I hope your grade 5s do too, or else I'm in poor shape. The Boomwhacker is a great way to teach note reading. And I know Musication does lovely Boomwhacker videos, but it drives me crazy that they use no staff notation, that they just use letter names. I would like it so much better if they showed notation on the staff, where what we have done in the Boomwhacker is staff notation. So the kids really do get a good introduction to playing C, D, E, F, G. These are, I can go to extra resources and I can use colored notation or regular notation. We're going to put these back into one slide so you can go from kids' notes to colored notes to regular notes. We just don't have time right now. Our team is really stretched thin. Again, I can add this to my list. So if I want to put that in my easy plan for September week 1, I can add it in, and there I go. If I want to do more than one Boomwhacker song, I can go to the next song. And I'm going to do intro to C, D, E, F, G 2. And I want to use the colored notation for it. Instead of the kids' notes, I can add it to my list. And there it goes to my easy plan. So pretty well everything on the website you can add to my list. So there's lots and lots of 5-note songs available for Boomwhackers. That's where I would start with Boomwhackers. And honestly, I would do this before I started Kids on Recorder. Absolutely. I think it's good training to read notes on the staff. And Recorder actually requires a lot of fine muscle coordination. Boomwhackers, not so much. Musication videos are fun, and these are actually links to some pop songs on Musication. but I wouldn't do only musication videos just because they're not learning staff notation. So bucket drumming, we've got 3 options. The basics is my method of teaching bucket drumming, where I start with the top, alternating hands. I get kids creating a pattern. We use different parts of the bucket. And I've really tried to pick music for the kids to play along with that's going to appeal to the upper elementary. I don't know what I'm getting here. So, fun stuff for the kids to play with, and fun stuff when they create their own bucket drumming patterns. This is our standard bucket drumming notation. Sometimes we just do the 3 parts that are being used, but it doesn't hurt them to have to know that the sides can be used, the top, the rim, and the click. So that is bucket drumming 1. That's my bucket drumming. And then we have holiday ideas. That's ideas for your concerts. And then we have Mr. Frank. Each of his bucket drumming lessons is a self-contained lesson. And he has a level 1 and a level 2. If your kids are new to bucket drumming, start with the level 1. Even if it says K2, start with it, because they'll have good success, and then you can try the harder patterns. But he's an engaging teacher. He's got a really good presence with the kids, and he does complete songs with complete lessons. And this one is 6 minutes long. That's pretty typical of his videos, 6, 7, 8 minutes long. So they're short little lessons, and the kids get a complete lesson in one video. I would do that with 4th, 5th, 6th. You can start bucket drumming younger, but I would prefer to save it for the older. So the basics is Denise's. Mr. Frank's is with a lot of John Jacobson songs, a lot of pop songs, and it's fun. Drumming, I'm not a strong drummer, so I've had 3 different people create drumming units for us. The one is the frame drum by James Allen from Connecticut. The other is Drum Play by Dave Holland, and he has more of a focus on world drumming. And the third one is djembe with drummer Dan. And you could use this for djembe or congas or anything. And he's got a lot of focus on high and low, learning patterns, and feeling strong and weak beats. I quite like our guitar unit. I've taught this, and I've taught it to 5th grade, and I've taught it to 6th grade. So both ukulele and guitar start with all 1-chord songs. You don't have to change chords for the first 14 songs on the guitar. And when you do start changing chords, it's A to D, which are the 2 easiest to switch, I think, on the guitar. These are all folk songs, but we also have pop song links. So you can add the pop song links in there, and you can start playing pop songs as soon as you have those 2 chords. If you have requests for pop songs you want, just ask. I like recorder. I would start my kit 1 with my 4th grade. Kit 2 would be my 5th grade. So my upper elementary, we would start, my 5th grade would start recorder in January. So I started grade 4s, grade 5s in January on recorder. And the recorder kit 2 is 2-part recorder with optional alto. So if I go into this little light of mine, so you can see we have soprano 1, soprano 2. This is alto recorder, and this is transposed alto recorder. If you don't have time to teach the new fingerings for the alto recorder, you can just have them do soprano fingerings on an alto, and it will work. I love these songs. I would get through those 24 songs most years with a good grade 5 class. Oh Canada was a particular challenge because it has an F sharp and a G sharp. But because I'm a flutist and an instrumentalist, I really like teaching recorder and really enjoyed it. In addition to the recorder kit 1 and 2, we have Blues Cats and Jazz Cats recorder. Again, very, very suitable for your upper elementary teacher, very engaging. I taught 4th grade recorder to my grade 4 granddaughters last year to their class, and we tried the Jazz Cats, but if they haven't done recorder before, it's a little much in their first year. But in their second year, they can eat this stuff up and do a great job with it. Ukulele, more schools I think have ukulele in elementary than guitars. So we start with 1, 2, and 3 chord songs, and same as the guitar. These are all 1-chord songs. if I was starting the school year with 5th grade, I would start with either ukulele or guitar in September and October. And the reason I do that is because it gets the kids singing. They hold that ukulele and there's a comfort level in holding it and singing along with it. And if you look at our kids' demos, they are singing really quite well. I think Little Tommy Tinker, we have a kids' demo here. This is actually a concert. This was the 10th class of a group that I had. And it was an after-school group that came in.
Little Tommy Tinker sat upon a clinker, he began to cry.
So nice singing. And this is possible, more doable when they have the instrument in their hands. So if you have ukuleles, do ukuleles early in the school year. If you have guitars, do guitars early in the school year. Unpitched instruments more for the lower elementary than the upper. The ORF directory is just that, but these ORF style lessons are really quite good for the ORF specialists. And we have some new ORF arrangements for fall written by Jane Lamb. These are quite lovely arrangements. And if you are an ORF specialist, keep your eyes open in here because we're going to have fall, winter, spring coming. We have a whole section of holiday ORF. And then the ones that say ORF style, this is a teacher, Bethany Ellen. I got to see her teach in Australia, and she's a very, very good teacher. So she'll take something simple like a little speech poem and turn it into a whole lesson. For those of you that have your level 3 ORF, explore Bethany's stuff. Even if you don't have level 3, if you have a level 1, her stuff makes sense, and she's got really good video support for doing it as well. So that's what I would suggest for your upper elementary. The body percussion, the dancing, the bucket drumming, the ukulele or guitar. It gets the kids using pop songs, which is what they want to be doing. It gets the kids singing when they've got ukulele or guitar in front of them. So I think it's a very good tool for the kids. I have heard people say Musicplay Online is more for your lower elementary kids, and absolutely it works so well. This sequence works really well for pre-K, K1, 2, and 3. I would still use these lessons with 3. 4th grade, I probably would use these lessons for the fall. 5th grade, I might change it up and not do the lessons in the sequence that they're given. Although I do like this lesson. September week 1 is Mama Don't Allow, and they learn how to play the spoon. So again, I'm using instruments with the 5th grade within this particular lesson. Concentration game for 5th grade, I've had really good success with that. And our demo group here shows they're enjoying it. They're having fun. Mama Don't Allow, we have a new performance by Donna and Andy where they show how you can add the instruments to the song.
Mama don't allow no singing round here. Mama don't allow no singing round here. Well, we don't care what Mama don't allow, gonna sing our heads off anyhow. Mama don't allow no singing round here. Mama don't allow no hand clapping round here.
So again, lots of good ideas. Andy does an introduction how to play the spoons, and I've kept the introduction by the spoon lady, who's, I think, a wonderful musician. And then we have the staff lesson. So that's, again, going into units and theory. Note name memory, going into the games so that they have some name games to play. Coconut Chaos, playing the lines game. And then reading Little Tommy Tinker. There's no point in learning how to read music if you're not applying it. You've got to put things in context. So my kids would be able to read ti, 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 ta, ta. They would sing do, 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 me, 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 me. Good year, they would get it all the way through. Wasn't always a good year. And then we have kids' demos that they show you how to do the movements and then the beat and rhythm activities. And anytime you see this little arrow, you've got extensions. You got tons and tons of extensions. So that pretty much covers my, what is on Musicplay Online. I think I have remembered to show you everything. I haven't showed you the lesson planning materials, so I have to show you that. Are there any more questions, Spencer?
Earlier when you were linking YouTube videos, someone asked if those links will remove the ads from the YouTube video.
I think there is a way to do it by putting a T or something after the T. I'm not sure, but some of our teachers on Musicplay Teachers Group have suggested various ways of removing the ads. When we put YouTube links into the website, when we put them directly into the website, we are able to remove the ads. So when you see an external link video on the site, you know it's not going to have ads.
And then we had someone asking about can subs access my lists when they look as a student, they only see learning modules.
Yes, and I will show that. Okay, Spencer, mark that one down for a show on the site. I'm going to answer more questions while I can.
Gotcha. Okay. And then probably can do this at the same time. So I was asking how a sub can sign in.
Okay, yep, I'll do that too.
And then a couple people were wondering, I think they missed it, how to copy a lesson to the My List, where exactly that button was.
Okay, then I'm going to go back to share screen. I won't forget to do it this time. So when you go to the website the very first time, you'll land on the Discover page. And on this Discover page, up in the upper right-hand corner is the dashboard. So you go there and you go to student code. First time you come here, it's going to say generate my code. And that'll be unique to you. And that code will automatically embed in any link. And you can give that link to a student. You can give that link to a sub. You can give that link to a principal. If your principal wants to see what you're teaching and you've created your own My List, you could send him a link to it as well. So once I've created that, let's copy another My List. So I had taken grade 2, lesson 1. I'm going to take grade 1, lesson 1 for September. I like this lesson too. This lesson has Doobie Doo, one of my favorite movement songs, and it has Mountaintop Monster that I really like. So lots of good stuff. So I'm going to copy to My List, and all I do is click here, and it spins for a little tiny bit, and then it's copied, and I edit the name of that lesson because you don't need it to say Denise's copy. What I need it to say is grade 1, lesson 1, September, week 1. And then I'm going to jump to the bottom and I'm going to save it. I could categorize if I wished, but I'm not going to. And now I have this lesson. And I can keep it exactly as is, or I can create new, and I can add anything that's on the site. If you think about making YouTube playlists, the difference between a YouTube playlist and this is I have to create my list first, then add to it. So if I go to the games, this is grade 1. So I'm going to look at the games that I really like for grade 1. Beat, no beat. That's a good concept for first grade. Up, down. Good concept for first grade. Loud, quiet. Good concept for first grade. So let's put that game into our list for grade 1. And as easy as that, it's added. If I wanted to do some rhythm practice, I wanted to find one of these really nice play-along activities. And my kids really aren't reading rhythms yet in grade 1. I'm just preparing them. Then I would go to body percussion play-alongs, or I could go to our vegetable and fruit rhythms, and I could add any of these that I want. So I'm going to add one of the nice play-alongs, and I'm going to add it to my list, and I'm going to add that to Denise's copy of grade 1, lesson 1. I guess I didn't save my change there. Now I'm going back to my lists, and if I go to grade 1, lesson 1, if I go down to the end of it, it's going to have all those things that I just added. And if I want them higher up, I can move them higher up with the arrow keys. If I'm on the very last one and I want it first, if I click the down arrow, it's going to throw it right back up to the top of the list. It's one of those little hints that you won't necessarily get otherwise. So now I start with the body percussion play along. So that's how I copy a list and add to it. And if I want to add something from YouTube to it, I would go to the very end to the add procedure. I have to move this up so you can see it. But where it says add procedure, that's where I can add something from YouTube or any external site that I want to. And I'm pretty sure that includes Google Slides as well. Spencer, what else did we have as a question?
Okay. pretty easy one, I think, for you. Are there worksheets to assess beat versus rhythm?
Yes, and those were in the beat and rhythm printables. I have not assessed it through worksheets. I assess through observation, and I will show you where that is. I just do want to show you, here's our scope and sequence. I showed that at the beginning. Here's curriculum correlations and I can statements. And I do want to mention something about I can statements. The I can statements that are here are directly from the national standards. And they aren't always identical to what's in the learning modules. And that again is because national standards are more about process. What's in the learning modules is providing you the content. So there will be some of these I can statements that will work, but you're going to have to do some of the legwork yourself and figure out what's in your curriculum that is required as an I can statements and probably do some of your own. I was going somewhere else with the lesson planning. I was going to go to the Discover page and show you that you can go into the grade level here and see really quickly what's in each grade level. So here's an assessment tracking chart, which also gives you kind of a scope and sequence. Here is the substitute lesson plans again. Here are some sub-tub activities that are offline. So if your subs don't have access to your computer and your technology, they can still teach. And national standards, the What We Learn posters are here. These are those wonderful, beautiful, colorful posters that we created last year, the year before, I can't remember. So those are all there. So a lot of the materials are really, materials are really easily accessible. The grade 2 month outline template is here, but our month outlines are here. These are just blank templates. And the grade 2 month outlines, August is messed up. Don't copy it. But when you get to September, it's going to be very close. So this is what's in the Musicplay song list. This is what I included in the module. And then these are some of the additional options. As you can see on this website, there's a wealth of options. Are there more questions, Spencer?
Just a couple more. One person was asking, I just finished day 2 of teaching. The students have had no K-5 music since last January. Started with 5 binders trying to organize, but now I've condensed K1, 2, and 3, and then 4 and 5. Should I try to teach by each level or combine or teach 5th grade and the 4th grade curriculum because they seem to be behind?
I don't think there is anything wrong with doing 4, 5, the same thing for a year. I honestly don't. And there's good games in both. That is key if you're using the actual Musicplay binders. This is the old look of the binders. This is the new look of the binders. Content has, the actual song content is very, very close to the same, but it's prettier and it opens up nicely and it has the What We Learn posters on the back of it. So if you're combining it so that you can learn the material more easily yourself, I think that's a really valid reason for teaching the same thing in 4th and 5th, or you do it with 5th and 6th, whatever the grade levels combined work out for you. K1, I really do like the one curriculum better than the kindergarten. So I might use pre-K for K, grade 1 for grade 1, combine 2 and 3. And again, you'd be fine using the grade 2 curriculum with 2 and 3, and you'd probably be fine using 4 curriculum for 4 and 5, but there are some really fun games in 5 that I wouldn't miss out. One of the first ones is Ickle Ockle, simple So Me La song for review, but a super fun game that kids like. Our Old Sow, stupid name, but it's a very, very fun game for kids. Old Maid in grade 5 is fun. I've had reports from teachers that their kids have really enjoyed, their 5th graders have really enjoyed 4 White Horses. So I would tend to look at the games for the week and decide whether I was going to teach the 4th grade game or the 5th grade game, because you want those kids on side early in the year. You want them buying into what you're doing. So my tendency would be to look at the 2 grade levels and say, okay, I like this game better than this game, so I'm going to use this game instead. Concepts are going to be close.
And I think that wraps up all the questions I picked up during. So
look at my outline and see if there's anything I missed. I had in the outline a few other sites that work well for kids in grades 7 and 8 because there is a need for that in some places. So you might want to look at things like Band Lab, Crow Music Lab, doing Stomp, doing Modern Rock Band. But those things are external, not on Musicplay Online. Musicplay Online is very focused pre-K to 6 or pre-K to middle school, and there's lots and lots of song content for your middle schoolers and lots of instruments. But things like Band Lab, I think would be better using an external site. Well, thank you for coming. I hope you are all having a great start to the school year and that you stick it out, not just for this year, but this is my 46th year of teaching. So I hope you all last as long as I do and still have as much fun as I have when I get to go in and play with the kids. That's what I say I do. I sing and play games for a living.
Thank you for sharing your time with us today. If you would like to earn a PD certificate for this episode, download the accompanying handout, or watch the webinar, please go to workshops.musicplay.ca. See you next time.
It's time for music play.